What's going on, guys? In this video, we're discussing how the system doesn't work for men anymore. And then after that, I'm going to give you 5 things that you need to start focusing on so that you can live an exceptional life and avoid ending up like 99% of people. And we are back with the presentation style videos by popular demand. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, I say the system doesn't work for you. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, like this is the kind of shit right here that you're seeing that the system encourages. The system says, go to college. You've all heard this. We were all in high school at some point and they said go to college, right? This is the big thing they push. They tell you, the debt's worth it because you're going to get paid more and all this bullshit they tell you, right? Every movie, every fairy tale that you see, every simpy blue-pilled father out there from the 1960s, 70s or whatever, he's always saying, treat your girl like a fair maiden and all this stuff, buy her flowers, be chivalrous, be nice, all that like dopey ass shit, right? Like this guy right here on the knee with the flowers. And then you got this like cubicle kind of thing, which they tell you is aspirational. And it's like, hey, go to college, get yourself this cubicle job. You're going to have a fantastic life. And then just be a simp for this chick. And you're just going to get everything you want. Be a nice guy, be a doormat. Like it'll be great for you. This is like pretty much what they say. They might not say some of this stuff directly. Like they might not directly tell you to be a fucking doormat. But through what they tell you to do, you basically just become a doormat for a chick. And like we all truthfully know how this goes, right? But like let's just take a look at this, okay? This is what the average man's life looks like right now. And this is why I say the system just does not work for you, because if this is the results it gets, then the system doesn't work. If this is the results that it produces, then it's a bad system, okay? So we've got right here, the average man is 26% body fat. We've brought back, again, by popular demand, Mr. Beer Gut here, a classic. That's what the average guy's physique looks like. He just looks like absolute trash. He's eating junk food. He's just like, you can't even eat normal food these days without getting fat. The average person makes $39,982 per year, according to the most recent data that I found. What the fuck are you doing on $39,000 per year, guys? Like, for real. Honestly, like, I make over 6 figures and I feel like I'm stressing financially all the time. Like, I don't know how the fuck you live off this stuff, right? That's what the average guy's car looks like. So imagine like you've got that body, you've got that income, and then you get up in the morning to go work in this cubicle right here that I showed you. And that's your car you're driving to work. It's like, what a fucking shit show life, guys. Let's just be honest. Like that's fucking rough, man. And like that, if that's where you're at right now, or if that's the path that you're on, because what's crazy is like how many people are still going down this life path. It's like they just haven't thought it through, I guess, or thought of something better to do. It's like, dude, like I hope this is like something that makes you realize you need to abort. You need to change directions, pull out, right? Like that's going to be your fucking apartment with that car, with that income, with that body. And then right here, this guy over here playing video games all alone, because the average guy has no friends anymore either. Like I think the studies I've seen said that the average man has 0 close friends. And, it's difficult for me to get a fucking guy to come out and hang out anymore. I have friends and it's like pulling teeth to get these guys to leave the house. It's like they're doormats to their wives. They just sit around. They play fucking video games. They're miserable. They have no male connections in their life. They have no friendships. They're lonely. They have no one to talk to. They can't share an Instagram reel. Like there's so many guys out there who see a funny Instagram reel and they're like, man, I wish I had someone to share this with. And they don't have anybody. It's like, that's a fucking tragic existence, but this is what the system is producing for guys right now. You got to think differently, okay? It's shit like this, okay? That girl right there, in a few years, she's going to be your wife. Okay. Yeah. She was at the frat party, taking her top off right here, riding around on some guy's shoulders. Who knows who banged her that night? You know what I'm saying? Drunk, all this bullshit. But if you're this guy right here on the knee with the flowers, the system is telling you to like take this girl and wife her up. After she's done with her like fun young phase or whatever, you're going to be waiting there to pick up the pieces and like clean that mess up and pay for her. And she's going to have starfish sex with you like once every 6 months. And this is your like life that they offer you, right? Getting left on red. If you do what the system tells you to do with women, what do? You get left on red. Nearly 1 in 3 young men in the US report having no sex. Okay. Like guys aren't having sex regularly. Again, this is what the system gets you. So imagine this girl. She was totally down for all the frat bros and all this kind of stuff. And now it's, she's 30 and she's looking for a guy to basically bankroll her life at this point so she can have some kids and complete that phase of her life. You're getting ghosted by her half the time. Maybe she texts you back sometimes. You're like not really getting anything from her. And then this is like this picture right here represents basically your marriage to this woman, right? She's just disgusted with you, uninterested. And truthfully, it's your fault because you're listening to what the system told you. And so she has no respect for you. You never should have been with this girl to begin with. But this is what the system promises you. It basically promises you you're going to go to college, you're going to get some debt, you're going to get this shitty job, work in a cubicle, be a nice guy, be a doormat. Once the girl's done, you know, fucking with Chad and all that stuff, she's going to come back to you. And that's basically the game plan for the average guy. And so he's in debt, sexless marriage, hates his life. This is it, guys. And this is why I always, the biggest thing I preach on this channel is you cannot live a normal life. You have to avoid that. The system does not work for average guys. It just doesn't work for anybody in general. If you're following the normal life path, you're fucking cooked. You have to live differently. The world has changed, and if you don't adapt, your life is going to suck, as you can see. But if you adapt, and this is a big point, if you adapt, you can live a better life than 99% of people ever imagined. And I just really want to hammer on this, and this is, going to be a core point of this video, is there's a lot of people who look back with like rose-tinted lenses on a different era of human history. Like, man, the 50s were great, or the 80s were great, or some shit like that. Like, honestly, guys, like you go look and like realistically, those eras fucking sucked. Okay, this is the best time to live. The problem is that you can't be lazy in this era. If you're lazy right now, you're gonna have a miserable life, and you're gonna feel low status, and nobody's gonna like you, and you're not gonna get any girls, and you're gonna be poor. But if you have any ounce of ambition and work ethic, this is a fantastic time to live. Seriously, like it's just so much better. Like, I mean, the women are better looking, the opportunities are better, you can work from wherever, you can just like there's so much going on. You can be healthier than ever. Okay. And so I just really want to hammer on this point. I mean, things like this right here. This was a picture of me went out in Arizona a couple months ago. I went out there to visit some friends. That was me taking a dune buggy out in the desert, driving around. This was me in Miami on a jet car we took out. A lot of you guys have probably already seen this picture before, but I mean, these kinds of trips, doing these kinds of things, right? And I'm not even like really rich. Like, I'm just not broke. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the kind of stuff that's available for you if you just get your shit together. You can go on trips when you want, right? I didn't have to ask a boss for either of these trips I went on. Went out there, spent, I think both of these things cost me at least like $500 to do both of them, right? And it was just fun stuff that you can do once you like escape the normal life path and start thinking different and apply some different strategies and stuff. Things like this, like Dan Bilzerian, like this kind of lifestyle was not available 50 years ago. And maybe you don't want to be Dan Bilzerian, but seriously, like it's a pretty good life to have where you could set yourself up to where tons of attractive women want you. That feels like almost unimaginable, I bet, to most of you guys, but it's truly a thing if you set things up correctly. I mean, obviously it's the case, having true brotherhood right here. Like you got Andrew Tate and his friends around this dinner table here. Somebody's probably gonna get their fucking panties in a wad about this because they hate Andrew Tate. If you can't see past your dislike for the man to realize he's got something figured out, then you're an idiot. But my point with this picture is like having that level of brotherhood is possible in a way that it was not in the past. In the past, you basically were stuck with like your college buddies and your friend down the street, and those were the people you could be friends with. And what were the odds you were really gonna have a ton in common with these people? And then like you go off and get married, and then you never speak to these guys again anyways. There was no way to keep up with them. Would you like see them once every 3 years at the grocery store, and you're like, wow, you got fatter, and that was like kind of life, So like if you actually play this game correctly, you can have a better social life than ever before. Right here, you can be working from a laptop on a boat like this guy. I mean, like that might sound ridiculous, but what's interesting, guys, is in real estate, the people that I deal with who buy the more expensive houses, they never have conventional jobs. It's always some weird thing that they're doing. They've got some thing, they know this person who does this thing, and they're on their computer and they make this thing happen, and boom, bop, bam, like $60,000 appears in their bank account. It's like, that's the kind of stuff that like people who've escaped the system and understand how to actually play this game are doing. They're not wages. They're like the people who are buying the $300,000-$400,000 houses, and this is no disrespect to them or anything. I like a lot of these people, but like they're just working normal jobs. The people who are like doing the fun stuff, the interesting stuff, the stuff the system doesn't tell you about, the school system never told you, those are the people buying the $800,000, the $1.2 million, the $1.5 million, the $2 million houses and things like that. They've got all this money from shit you never heard of. And it's just doing things like that. And this stuff's possible in this era in a way that it was not in the past. It's never been a better time for ambitious people to live. Seriously, if you're lazy, then this era sucks. If you've got any ounce of ambition, you're willing to work, this is the greatest time to live by far. It's not even close, okay? If you embrace the modern world and how it works, you can live the greatest life ever possible. Seriously, you can travel where you want. You can work for yourself online. You don't need us like back in the day to work for yourself meant you had like a painting company. And so you had a bunch of painters under you and you were stuck in your hometown, or you owned like a restaurant that might go broke at any minute, right? Like nowadays you can work for yourself online with automation and all this kind of stuff and just, make $10,000 a month from a computer. Like this is a real thing, guys. I mean, it's just like, think differently. I mean, it shocks me how many people haven't, this stuff hasn't occurred to them yet. Now, the rest of this video will explain the 5 things you need to focus on to live an elite life in 2025 and beyond. When I really thought about it, I was like, if you focus on these 5 things, seriously, your life's going to be just amazing, guys. Okay. And so we're going to get into that right now. So the first thing I do want to cover, though, is a concept I briefly discussed in the previous video, which is about the bifurcation of society. So back in the day, everybody was very similar because we had it was like a mono algorithm that everybody was running on. They talk about algorithms today, meaning like what's the algorithm feeding you up on YouTube or Instagram and all this kind of stuff. And that kind of dictates what you're thinking about, which is going to dictate what you believe and what you're interested in and what you do as far as like actions and stuff like that. Well, back in the day, there was what I would call a mono algorithm. There was no social media. It was 3 news stations. It was 1 local newspaper. And that was about it. You got like a State of the Union from your president once a year. And that was kind of like the news. That was kind of the stuff you had. And then maybe you had like the local football team that everyone paid attention to, or you had the, maybe your college. Whenever you were in college, you had your fraternity, or like everybody was on these very singular algorithms, right? It was a mono algorithm. Everybody was kind of seeing the same shit, thinking the same way. And this was producing a very like homogenous society where everybody was very similar. You know what I mean? Like you could go 2 towns over and everybody was still watching the same news stations. You talk to your neighbor, it was the same thing. Like everybody was thinking very similarly and had very similar attitudes about life. Whereas today, because of the internet and social media, things have changed. We have a very bifurcated society where there are people who are living in an outdated reality where they are trying to go do what the system says to do. They're still trying to go to college like it's the 1970s. They're still trying to be a nice guy and buy her flowers like it's the 1950s. They're trying to do all this old, outdated shit. Or they're just like kind of living in this like weird fantasy land where they just can't accept reality. Maybe they're ignorant, maybe they're lazy, whatever it is. And then you got people on the other side who, the world has changed and they've adapted with it and they're willing to do what's necessary. And so I call this the bifurcation of society. We're at a fork in the road point right now, guys, where, like I said, life can really suck or life can be really great depending on which side of this fork in the road you're going to take. On the one side, you've got lazy, ignorant, and entitled people. These are people who aren't willing to do the work. They're not willing to go out and get the money the way that you have to do it in the modern world. They're not willing to make themselves the kind of man that a woman would want. They're not willing to go make the friendships that they could have. They're ignorant. They still believe in a bunch of outdated shit, which I just kind of discussed. Or they're entitled and they feel like people should want to be their friend, or they should just get paid well. Like you'll hear this kind of stuff like jobs should pay better. The fuck is that? Jobs should pay better. What, like, it doesn't even make any sense. They just should, right? Like what was this, like Moses's 11th commandment? He forgot to bring it down from the mountain when he brought the 10 commandments down. The 11th one is like, thou shalt get paid well to do fucking random ass jobs. Like, I don't think that's I don't think that's a rule, guys. It's just some shit people say. They just want things to be a certain way. It's an entitled mindset. And these people are going to fucking suck in real life. They're just going to have terrible lives. Nobody's going to want to deal with them. And then on the other side over here, you've got hardworking, intelligent realists. So what do I mean by that? Okay, you're not lazy. You're willing to do the work. You see the way it is. That means realism, right? You're like, okay, this is what dating's really like. This is what female nature is really like. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to say women should go back to the kitchen and all this kind of shit and just wish the world was different. I'm going to deal with the world the way it is. And then I'm going to start working on it. I'm going to take action. I'm going to be intelligent. I'm going to learn how to actually win in the game the way it's being played. Games change, guys. For those of you who like sports, the NFL back in the day, it was all about running backs. You know what I mean? They'd hand the ball off like 100 times a game. And it would just hand the ball off. They had fullbacks. They like did all this stuff. In basketball, it used to be about the center, right? You'd have this big center who would be in the paint, and he would just go like Shaq or Hakeem Olajuwon or people like that. The game was built around the center, or the game was built around the running back. The game has changed now. Now the game's about three-point shooting, and it's about pick and rolls. Or in the NFL, it's about spread offenses and passing the ball a lot. So you see, like, the game changes. And you'll notice, you see this happen. You'll get these old crotchety ass coaches who can't adapt with the times, or even a player who can't adapt with the times, like like some NBA players who just refuse to shoot 3-pointers and things like that. And what happens is eventually they just get phased out of the game. And that's how real life works too. It's like the game changes. The real life game changes. And if you're going to be some crotchety old fuck complaining about how the world isn't the way you wish it was from back in the day, you're just going to get run over by everybody else. You got to understand, you got to adapt with the times and figure out how to win in the game the way it is set up and constructed today. And that's what this fork in the road's about. The people on the one side, they just won't play the game for whatever reason. And the other people, they're like, no, we're going to play this game and we're going to fucking win. Okay. And I want you guys to be winners. So the first of the 5 things that you need to focus on is social media. The easiest way to become financially successful, date attractive women, and build a strong network is through social media. Now, right here, what you're seeing, this is what the old school way of doing things was like, right? Like, you got Red Foreman. I hope you guys have seen that 70s show. It's a pretty funny show. Like, Red Foreman was the dad. This show takes place in the 70s. He's like the manager of like a grocery store or something. And back then that was like some really like established job or something. And like he wears a suit to the Price Mart, and like he started as a bagger and now he's the manager of the store. And like you put your like, and like you go and you hand the guy your resume and like you get this like local shit kicker kind of job. Like this is how it was done back in the day. Or like Michael Scott, like right here, they have that kind of like lore of him at Dunder Mifflin where he started and he like worked his way up to be a regional manager and all this kind of shit, from like paper salesman. Like it was this thing, like you worked for some company for 20 years in some office and eventually you got some like prestigious kind of position that paid you a middle class income. I wanted to put this on here because I feel like people look back with these rose tinted lenses again about the way things used to be. It's like, this sucks, guys. I'm sorry, like the world today is way better than this. If you use social media, if you use the stuff I'm going to explain to you in this video, the world today is way, way, way better than it used to be. The problem is people are trying to live like it's the 1980s in 2025, meaning they're still trying to do shit like this. They're like, oh, I should go put my resume on Indeed and apply to a bunch of jobs and like see what happens. Or I should climb the ranks and like all this kind of shit. It's like, this isn't how the game works anymore, guys. You don't do this kind of shit. You don't show up to an office if you want to get paid well. The people getting paid well aren't in an office anymore unless they're like the CEO, okay? It's just not how it works. Or stuff like this, right? Like this is how guys used to find girls. They'd go find their like fair maiden outside of the like meat shop, right? She was like making subs and he's like asking her for her number or something. They probably didn't even have phones back then. He was asking her to go on a date with him at like the skating rink or some shit like that. Like this shit's really not as glamorous as you make it out to be. It's just really like this shit kind of sucks. And the new way of doing it with social media is just way more fun if you'll just embrace it. The future is personal brand through social media. Create content that gets you money, dates, and friends. Okay, like this is how it works. Like you want to be using social media. If you're not on here, if you've got some stick up your ass about social media, you're going to be on that one side of the fork on the road. I'm telling you, I don't know anybody at this point who's really like got a life they really like who's not using social media. I know some people who've managed to make decent money without using social media who are like, under 35. It's very rare at this point, but like I know a couple of them. But like all the other parts of their life are a mess. They can't get a date because they're not on social media. So like maybe they've got some job, they're getting paid okay, but they have no social presence because they're not online. And so they can't get a date. Or it's like maybe maybe they have a girlfriend, but they're flat broke because they don't use social media. Like, it's just like, this is the thing that will solve all of these issues for you. You can make money on it. You can get dates. You can make friends. And it's way easier to get dates. You've probably tried to use the dating apps. Instagram is way better than dating apps, okay? And it's definitely way better than trying to run around a mall trying to talk to chicks or get drunk at a bar and pick them up. That shit just doesn't work, okay? You need to be focusing on things like this, right? Like, I post content. I have 2 Instagram pages that I use. I have my business one and I have a personal one. The business one is for my real estate business, as you can see, like doing house tours, things like that, providing information. This is how I run my business. Then I got personal content that I throw up. And the point of the personal content is to establish myself as somebody people would want to know. I'm presenting myself as having status, being a cool person, being the kind of guy who's attractive to women, being the kind of guy that you would want to know. If you're just another cool guy in my area or just really anywhere, it's like, oh, this guy gets it. He's a cool guy. And like this kind of stuff just opens doors for you in a way that you just cannot realize until you start doing it. Guys, like the most money I've ever made in my life without using social media was $18 an hour. Think about that. And now I make comfortable 6 figures thanks to social media. Social media is the marketing engine for my real estate business. Okay. I've done fitness coaching in the past. It was YouTube that I did for this. It's like, this is how this game works. Okay. I'm telling you, I have a friend. He's literally 18 years old and he's making six figures running a car detailing business, and he gets most of his business off of social media. This is how the game works. You got to be on social media, guys. Like I just said, I'm able to make six figures, travel, build great friendships, and find dates because I know how to use social media. Like I get all of it from there. I don't talk to girls in person. I set it up first on social media. And here's the other interesting thing. They'll reach out to you, or they'll follow you at least and try and like indicate they're interested in you. You know what I mean? Like most of my friendships have been made through social media. I get to travel because I have social media to make money with, right? Like I don't have to be stuck at a desk. You know what I mean? Personal brand is the ultimate force multiplier on your life. Basically, the way this works is it's like you're living your life and you're doing cool shit, and you just document this and put it online, and that just makes it do way more for you, right? It's like, what's the point of being a total badass if nobody knows about it? It's like, let people know, and all of a sudden the doors will open for you. If you're out there really grinding, you got a great physique, you know, you're in the gym, you're boxing, you're running a business, you've got a cool car. It's like, put that shit online, guys. Let everybody know, because people want to be around this shit. They want to be around status. They want to be around cool people. Women want to date these guys. Other guys want to be friends with them. Opportunities come to people who live this kind of lifestyle and present it on social media. When you have a brand, business seeks you out, girls try to get your attention, and cool people want to know you. The key is to be the main character in your life and document it. Okay. So like, you just want to build a cool life. Like, who do you want to be? Go out there and take action to become that guy, and just document doing that thing. This isn't about faking it. You know, like I don't drink, so I'm not going to go to a bar and try and like post up on some cool like content I'm gonna get for social media. It just doesn't make sense. Like, it's completely inauthentic. But I do box, I do work out, I do business stuff, I do travel. So that's what I post. Okay. And so it just makes sense. And so all you got to do here is just be conscious to, like, you know, take responsibility for your life. Where are you going? Go after a big goal in life and becoming the best version of yourself. Work towards that and document it. That's all you got to do. And when you do that, you stand out so much, because most people don't do this at all. Most people are side characters in their own lives. They're living vicariously through their favorite internet personality or sports star, right? Like, most people have no personality aside from like the Kardashians or their favorite basketball team. Like, that's all they have going on in their lives. They have no personality. They don't know who they are. They're not the main character in their own life. They're just in the stands watching the world happen. And you want to avoid that, especially in 2025, because you're just not going to get ahead like that. You're going to have some shitty fucking job. People want to be around main character energy. Seriously, like, you want to be one of those guys. Like, I don't have any like side characters in my life. Everybody that I'm friends with is the main character of their own story, meaning they know where they're going and they're on their own journey. They're not just sitting around watching TV all day, watching other people go on their journey. Okay. If your profile looks like this in 2025, you're cooked. Seriously, like, you've got no chance. You are not going to make a lot of money. You are not going to get dates. You are not going to make friends. This notion like you're going to go to, like, I don't know, a bar and find your best friend is not the case. Like, we make friends through the algorithms we're on. What do I mean by that? I mean that, you know, if you're on a certain algorithm for, I don't know, a certain belief system for business, right? You're going to want to be friends with people who are also sharing that algorithm, the same creators they're watching, the same perspectives on life. All of that comes from the algorithm that you're on. It doesn't come from like local proximity, right? Like, I've got neighbors in my apartment complex. I have nothing in fucking common with these people. You know what I mean? I have people I have things in common with people all over the world who share my algorithm, who watch the same creators as me, who have the same beliefs as me, who want the same things out of life as me. Like, this is how you make friends too, guys. You don't make friends by knocking on your neighbor's door. Like back in the day, hey, I'm gonna meet the new neighbor. Like, I mean, you could be nice to the guy, but I highly doubt you're gonna find like your best friend in your like next door neighbor. It's just not gonna happen. It's online. So you got to play this game if you want friends too. I'm telling you. Now, the second thing is online education. This is what they used to tell you to do, right? This is what the system still says to do. Go to college, get a bunch of debt, all this kind of shit. This is washed up. This is totally done. We're not doing the college thing anymore. It just doesn't make sense unless you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor, all right? This is the path right here. I remember being in college at 21 years old, 20 years old, I think actually, and watching that Ty Lopez video right there that you can see the screenshot of. And this was like my introduction to entrepreneurship, and it changed my life genuinely. Like, it set me on a path to who I am today. Was Ty Lopez, was Grant Cardone, was people like that who were like really in the entrepreneur kind of online space back in like 2017, 2018. It was these kinds of guys. I was watching them, and they totally changed my life. I learned more from them than I learned from my college time. I don't remember hardly anything I learned from college. I learned like a couple things from a jazz class. That's about it. Like, I know who Miles Davis, the jazz musician, is because of a jazz class. That's about all I remember from college. But like, other than that, it didn't teach me anything. It was the internet that taught me everything that I know pretty much. People will even ask me like, what books do I recommend? And there are really good books that I do like. Like, I've gotten value out of them. But honestly, a lot of times I'm like, the man I am today isn't because of books I read. It's because of videos I watched on YouTube. It's like, it would be better for me to share a YouTube playlist with you than to share a book with you. You get what I'm saying? Like, the access to education and knowledge that is available to you right now in the modern world just transcends college to a way you wouldn't believe. You don't have to follow what the system wants you to learn anymore. You can learn anything. Seriously, Alex Hormozy, Michael Sartain right here. Michael Sartain, somebody I've been learning a lot recently about. I'm in his coaching program. Learning about, how to build a high status network, how to get like a ton of women around you, right? Rather than going from the dating app game and playing that type of thing, using what I mentioned with social media and then other tools at your disposal to create a lifestyle that basically gets a ton of women around you. This is something I've learned from him. Networking skills. Like, all of this stuff is available to you on the internet for free or for paid, but it's even the paid stuff's cheaper than going to college. Seriously. So like, it's a good deal. You know what I mean? And so like, all of this stuff's available. And in 2025, this is something you absolutely have to focus on. If you're using the internet to brain rot, you are going to live a shitty life and you'll deserve it. So like, if you've been given, like, guys, the phone has given us abundance of information, of knowledge. Anything you need to learn is at your fingertips. If you are taking that opportunity and choosing to watch porn and watch sports highlights and watch Mr. Beast videos, you are cooked. Period. Like, you have everything you could possibly need to know is at your fingertips, and you are wasting that opportunity. I do not feel sorry for you if your life sucks. Okay. Every problem you have can be solved by looking on the internet. YouTube, ChatGPT, coaching, and paid courses and communities have all the answers you need. Use them and get ahead, right? You got to just start looking, okay, what's the problem in my life? What is the answer? Go find it. Go on ChatGPT and say, here's the issue. Help me find the answer to it. It'll spit out some stuff. Go on YouTube, watch a creator explain it, join a coaching program, something like that, right? At your fingertips is the power to learn how to attract women, be a good-looking man, make money, be healthy, and anything else you could possibly imagine, right? There's no excuse for ignorance anymore. Back in the day, if you sucked with chicks, it was hard to figure out the answers. Nowadays, it's really not hard. It's right out there. I mean, you can literally just like a couple clicks away, you can have the answers to how to be good with women. In 2025 and beyond, a meta skill will be the ability to quickly find the answers to your problems online and then take action on that information. So basically, your ability to quickly figure out the answer to a problem and then solve the problem. It's like, it's the combination of both of those things, because there are people, and I know some of you who watch my freaking content and it drives me nuts. You watch my content and you're like, this is great, and then you do nothing that I say to do, or you do nothing that any other creator you listen to says to do. You're like, wow, this is awesome, great stuff, and then just completely disregard all the stuff you're told. It's like, you're not going to get ahead like that. You got to do both. You got to learn and then implement every single thing. You should not watch a video anymore without intentionally knowing, like, okay, I'm going to take action on it in this way. Right? So ask yourself, like, what from this video that I've given you are you going to take action on? Because if you don't take action on anything, then you wasted your time. At least get your social media set up, guys. Like, you got to do something, okay? And that means you learned something and you took action on it, which means you improved your life. And that is a meta skill, your ability to quickly learn things from the internet and then put them into implementation in your life. Implement them in your life so that they can improve your situation, okay? It's a massive thing. The next thing we need to focus on is solo business. The internet has opened the door to solo businesses. So what I mean by this is, like, these are businesses you can run on your own with software and automation. So like, back in the day, starting a business meant that you had to go get a loan from a bank. You needed a building. You needed staff. You needed all this shit that was in the way. And nowadays, all you need is a social media profile And that's pretty much it. Like, you need something to sell in a social media profile. And sure, you're going to have to figure out how to do the social media thing, and you're going to have to do a good job selling the product, but like all the barriers to entry are gone. Everything's within your hands. You can figure anything out at this point. All the obstacles are something you can solve, right? You don't need a $500,000 loan from a bank to start a business. I've never taken out a loan for a business in my life. I don't really intend to be honest, unless I just want like investor funding or something like that for something in the future. So like basically what you can do now is you can run a business with a social media platform and a service. You don't need staff. You have all profit. It's not an expensive thing to run. And you have a few clients you work with in whatever you're doing, and you just get paid more than you would at a job. And you have no boss, you have no responsibility other than doing a good job for your clients. It's a way better way to do it. Again, guys, I'm telling you, like the modern world is so much better than the past if you just know how to use it. This is the best kind of way you can make money. This is what everybody fucking wants. You can work for yourself with no overhead and no responsibility. You just have to be disciplined enough to do a good job. That's it. What else could you possibly want? Seriously. Like, I mean, I don't want to hear anybody talking about how the modern world sucks. The modern world is amazing, okay? You can make way more money working for yourself solo than you can working a hole in the wall job for a company. Seriously, like you'll go, you can be a data analytics junior data analyst or something like that for 50K, or you can, create a company that analyzes data for different businesses and gives them predictions on how to make more money, and you can make 100K. You know what I'm saying? Like you can just figure out how to do this kind of stuff, right? So figure out how to turn your skill sets into a solo business. That's the game in 2025. Like the era of working for a company is done. Seriously, like the only reason to work for a company at this point is if you're just some lazy normie, okay? Like, and I'm not saying lately, listen, some of you out there, maybe you're not quite ready to jump into the solo thing. So I'll put a caveat on this and I'll say, you want to be moving in this direction. It's kind of like I explained this to a guy in my school community this morning on our group call. I explained to him that the more responsibility you take for the outcome, the more money you'll make. So what do I mean by that? Like if you are a 9 to 5 employee with a fixed income, you basically have this kind of responsibility that you just show up and do the job. The next thing from there would be like a paid plus commission job where like there's more pressure on you to perform. You need to go out and get business, but because of that, you can make more money. So maybe they give you like a 50K base, but you could make as much as $100,000 per year after commissions, right? The next thing from there would be a straight commission job where the leads are provided to you, but you have to close them or you don't get paid. In those positions, you can make maybe $250,000 a year. And then finally, there's the thing where you take responsibility for everything. All the risk is on you. No, you have to get your own leads. You have to have your own product. You have to do your own sales. That's called running a business. And now suddenly you can make millions of dollars, right? And so I explained this. And so basically like, if you're not in a position where you can run your own business, just use that same framework and work towards it. Just understand the more risk that I'm willing to take on, the more I will get paid. So right now it's like, all right, figure out how you can put your skill set to use inside a company, and you want to start figuring out how you can transition it into a solo business. If that's sales, if that's, accounting, like go from being an accountant inside a Fortune 500 company to running an accountant firm. You get what I'm saying? Like figure out how to make these transitions. You make more money doing it for yourself because you're taking on more risk, okay? So here's some solo business ideas. Content creation. Teach something, okay? So like kind of what I'm doing right here, you teach something and then you create products on the back end. I've got a school community, you could have paid courses, you could have paid coaching, things like that. Entertain people, right? Do entertainment kind of content and get sponsorship deals and affiliate deals and things like that, or just get paid off the ad revenue. Commentate on something. It's like politics or, the state of culture or sports or whatever. And again, you'll get affiliate links. You can like create business around this, right? So content creation is a great solo business idea. You can do it from wherever, set the whole thing up. The next one, you could do consultancy kind of work. What do I mean by that? You could do coaching services, fitness coaching. It could be, like performance coaching for CEOs. It could be sales coaching. It could be anything like that, right? Business consulting, right? Maybe you've got like a system in place. Let's say you're a sales expert, and then you go from working at sales in a company to starting your own sales consultancy where you go network with other businesses. You get in there, they pay you a fee to go in and basically clean up and improve their sales processes. right? That would be like business consulting. Services, you could do lawn care, right? You don't even need really a skill for that. As long as you got a lawnmower, send out, market yourself, social media page, figure out how to do social media well, and you can run that. Real estate agency, that's what I do. Web design, editing, landing page creation, car detailing. These are just things off the top of my head. These are all solo businesses. You don't need anybody else to do these things. And you could make 6 figures per year doing all of them. All right. You got to focus on this, guys. The opportunities are limitless, but you cannot live like it's 1980. This is 2025. Use social media to start all of these businesses. That's all you got to do, right? Like, here's my Instagram for real estate. I make all my money off this thing. I just post content on here every single day. You just got to get good at making content. And then it just snowballs. That's it. That's the game. Number 4 is networking. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And this is a big factor with social media too, right? This is why you want to create content. Because if I go look at your Instagram and I'm thinking about doing business with you and I see that you don't even exist online, I'm like questioning you. I'm like, is this person even legit? You have to have an Instagram to appear legit. You know what I mean? And so, like, people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. If you're posting content regularly, they gain a familiarity with you. They're like, oh, I know this person. I trust this person. Even if they've never met you, it's crazy. They'll feel like they know you, and then they'll want to be friends with you and stuff like that. And so this is a really important thing to understand. This is why networking in 2025 is such a big deal, because, we're moving more and more into, I think, these kind of like siloed societies where it's really important to get yourself into a little like ecosystem of people who are doing things together and making things happen. Again, it's not this like mono algorithm society anymore. So like you really need to get in with a clique of people who are like kind of on the same page and making things happen. And the more you can do that, the more opportunities are going to open up for you, the more knowledge you're going to gain. Like, I mean, it's crazy how this works. Knowing a guy is way more valuable than knowing a thing, especially in the globalized world, right? The odds that there is an Indian out there who can do the same job as you for 5 times less money, pretty high. Right? If you're, a coder, I promise you there's a coder in Bangladesh who can make more, who can do the same thing for cheaper. If you're even at this point, like, sales and things like that, I mean, they all outsource this kind of stuff. Like most things have been outsourced because of the globalization of the world. Knowing a thing is not enough. You need to know people. This is why, again, like people get mad that like executives never get fired when there's layoffs in a company. One of the biggest reasons is because the person who has to do the laying off, like the CEO, is who's making the decision on cuts. Well, he knows the vice president of marketing. He knows that guy personally. He knows that guy's family. And so when he's sitting there looking at cutting people, he's like, fuck, I don't want to cut John. I don't want to have that conversation with John. I don't want to have to tell John we have to let him go. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to do this kind of stuff. Whereas person number 48 in the IT department, you're like, yeah, sorry, man, you're going to have to go, right? It's nothing personal. It's just like he has a personal relationship with this one person. You don't want to fire him. Nobody wants to have that conversation with their friend, right? So they're just going to fire the guy they don't know and then tell their underling to go do the firing. They're like, yeah, these guys got to go, right? That's how it works, right? Knowing a person is the best protection you can have. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. I'm willing to pay extra to have somebody working with me that I actually like. I'd rather pay them because at least I have fun with that. I'm not going to pay extra for somebody who just knows how to do something. I'll just get the cheapest rate I can for that. But if I know you and I like you, then I'm willing to pay extra for it. And you're more likely to have job security. This is how this kind of works. You really need to focus on networking. You're one relationship away from the girl of your dreams and doubling your income. There's somebody out there who knows where all the cool parties are at that you don't know about. And if you were friends with that guy, you'd get invited to the party with all the pretty girls and you get to show up and there's, 10 guys at the party and 40 girls, and the odds that you're going to get a girl to go home with you are pretty high in that scenario. You know what I mean? Or, one relationship away from doubling your income. You're, like in my business, let's say I'm in real estate and, you meet somebody who is a builder and they need an agent to represent a neighborhood they're launching, and like all of a sudden you get like $200,000 per year out of a relationship. Like this is how this kind of stuff works. You really got to prioritize networking. Now, how do you build your network? Social media. Again, seriously, if I get a lot of followers on Instagram, and I only follow people back if, one, I know them and I like them, or their profile makes them look like somebody I would like to know. So pretty girl or guy who just looks like somebody who's cool and got his shit together. Those are the kind of people that I follow back, right? And it's the same for anybody else. So it's like if you're trying to build a network, but you look like a child molester on Instagram, you've got no chance. You need to prioritize this, guys. You need to look like somebody dope. People need to look at you and be like, oh, this guy would be cool to have in my life. He gets it. This guy's a baller, right? Like that's what you want. The girls need to be like, damn, this guy's got it going on. I want to go on a date with this guy, right? You got to set this up on social media. This is how you do networking in 2025. Networking is not slapping a name tag on and going to a coffee shop. That shit's for the fucking brokies. That's like the people who don't get it go to that kind of stuff. Social media is how you actually play this game. Now, number 5 is self-improvement. In the world of endless distractions, it's never been easier to be a lazy piece of shit. Self-improvement as a way of life is a massive status symbol, and it will open doors in your career, dating, and networking. Okay, so like this goes back to being the kind of guy people want to know. So I hope you're seeing sort of how you can put these 5 together. You're using social media, which is going to help you make money, build your network, and build your dating life. What did I say about, documenting for your personal brand? You want to know where you're going and document that as you go along. Well, that's your self-improvement journey. So you're focused on self-improvement, meaning you have a version of yourself you're trying to achieve. You're doing the work to achieve that. You're getting better. You're disciplined. You're in the gym. You're becoming the best version of yourself, and you're documenting that. So there's social media and self-improvement. People are going to see this. They're going to follow you. They're going to want to do business with you. They're going to want to be your friend. There's your networking and your solo business getting started right there. Online education is how you learn to do all of the self-improvement stuff. You get what I'm saying? It's like you want to learn how to, get in shape. You're going to do that through online education. So you see how you're putting all 5 of these things together. You do all 5 of these things. It creates this virtuous cycle where things start moving upward in a very positive way. Self-improvement examples, like these are things to be focusing on. Really, the goal is like you just need to know who you want to be and go after it. And don't overthink this. Just be like, what would be better than I'm at right now? That's a good place to start. You're in pain. Your life sucks. I made the whole video on purpose. Go watch it. Just figure out what would be better than the painful situation you're in right now. Go towards that. That's enough. This doesn't need to be overthought. Here's some self-improvement examples, though. Eating healthy, training, having the right mindset, developing that mindset, okay? Educating yourself instead of consuming junk content. Again, going back to online education. Learning new skills, right? I'm learning to box. Maybe you're learning to play golf. You're learning, I don't know, to wakeboard or something like that, doing cool stuff like that. Improving your appearance is self-improvement. That's fashion, that's hygiene, that's grooming, all that kind of stuff. Fixing the problems in your life rather than wallowing in them. Most people just complain about life. They're like, I'm poor, I'm fat, I can't get a girlfriend, and all this shit. Like you're gonna be the one guy who's just like, I'm gonna fix all these problems. I'm not gonna complain about them. You know what I mean? Taking action is self-improvement, right? Like this is what self-improvement's about. You're doing this kind of stuff. You're documenting it on social media, which builds a business, which builds your network, which builds your dating life, and then you just keep improving yourself through online education. Like this is the game, okay? You do this, you're going to level up, I'm telling you. So here's the big 5. Again, social media, personal branding, online education, solo business, networking, self-improvement. These 5 work together to make you elite. You do all 5 of these things, I promise you, you will be elite, okay? Now, the last thing I want to say is that 99% of men won't listen to this and their lives will suck. Most guys are going to have shitty lives in the modern world because they're living off outdated systems, they're lazy, they're arrogant, they're incompetent. You don't want to be like those guys. And if you want to be one of these top level men, click the video that you're going to see on screen. It's going to walk you through how to avoid ending up like 99% of men. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.